Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 106. And today is going to be a very fun episode, as we are finally getting into the NFL season. Today is the last episode, I guess, before the NFL season kicks off. So
we're really working hard to get this to you. We're actually recording this in the middle of a tornado.
Yeah, we are literally in the middle of a natural disaster.
It's awful. You might see water start pouring in behind me through this window, but who knows?
Yeah, we're recording this on a Tuesday today. Easton, you're going on a trip?
Yeah, tomorrow I get to leave with just my ma. Me and her are going to Mount Rushmore. She called me a couple weeks ago. Spur of the moment was like, let's go to Mount Rushmore. And I was like, I got nothing better to do. Like, what else am I going to do?
And you're also the biggest impulse decision guy, ever, too. So.
It doesn't take much to convince me either.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, somebody, let's go do this. I'm like, and they're like, you'll have fun. I'm like, okay, we're going.
All right, that's all I need to know. So, yeah, we're filming this on a Tuesday. Usually, because obviously we're going to do weekly picks today. We'll be doing our weekly picks episodes every Wednesday. But this one will definitely be out by Thursday Night Football. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for...
Yeah, we're doing the top 10 power forwards today.
Yeah, we're doing top 10 power forwards. We're going to try to be doing the top 10 each position until this NBA season starts.
And then maybe a top 25. We don't really know yet.
Probably top 25.
Maybe a top 30.
Maybe, yeah.
Because 30 is also a good number.
30 is a good number. But yeah, let's just get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
First things first, though, college football is finally here. Week 1 of college football happened, and it was a pretty eventful week. Mm-hmm. Started off with some Big Ten play on Friday night. The Michigan State Spartans took down Northwestern, and the Wake Forest transfer running back Kenneth Walker III absolutely balled out, like 264 yards, I think, 4 TDs. Just absolutely exploded for the Spartans, and their defense looked pretty good as well. So a great start to the year for Mel Tucker and this brand new MSU squad, because the whole team is transfers pretty much.
Yeah,
so.
And that Alabama corner, he's nice. He
played really well. I'm excited for MSU season. I mean, like, obviously week 1, I don't want to overreact or anything, but it can't get much worse than last year. I mean, they weren't very good last year, so
no, it really can't.
They have a big game. Not this week, but in next. Well, they play a bad team this week. I think Youngstown State, I think, is who they play, and then they take on Miami, Florida. So that's going to be a really big game for them. Miami played Alabama this week and lost to them, so that's going to be a huge game for MSU.
Mm-hmm. Then you go right down to Ann Arbor, Michigan, Western Michigan playing. This was a fun game to watch until the upsetting news and watching Ronnie Bell get carted off. He was having a monster game. I don't know what it is with Michigan and having their best wide receivers also do punt returns. They did it with Donovan Peoples-Jones. Now they're doing it with Ronnie Bell. I really hope this is like a sign of like, hey, let's not
just put
do
your
this.
Fastest dude.
Just put somebody back there who's
like
not a whole offense. Like Ronnie Bell had like 170 yards total. Granted, he had like a 66-yard punt return, but he made a slick catch where he got called back.
Yeah, crazy good catch.
That was early catch, or if that doesn't get called back, it's an early nomination for catch of the year.
Yeah,
easily. But he was balling out, and we ended up. He got hurt. He's tore ACL. So shout out Ronnie Bell, but can't wait to have you back next year.
Maybe. Yeah, he has 1 year left of eligibility. We'll see if he goes to the draft or not. I'd assume he's probably going to come back just because of this very unfortunate, injury that happened to him. The Michigan quarterback situation is going to be interesting as the year goes on.
Didn't get fixed from this game.
And like obviously, I think everyone kind of expected Cade to be the starter just because he played well when he came in last year. He has the more experience than McCarthy. But McCarthy, at the same time, as this highly prospect, played well in the time he did get. I mean, I think at some point you're going to see JJ take over this season. No matter even if Cade is playing well. I think that there will at least be a game where JJ starts the game, I think.
JJ is nuts.
Yeah.
Like he's an unreal quarterback and easily could be one of the top quarterbacks in college football in the next coming years. He is unreal.
Has a chance, definitely.
That throw that me, you, and Willie were looking at where he throws it 40 yards across the field.
Yeah, that was a very good, very ballsy throw. Throw. And he pulled it off, though. Yeah, that was a crazy play.
And I love hearing the players talk about how this season looks different for them. And I'm really hoping it stands true. And they're saying, every week we're going to prepare like we're playing Ohio State. And yeah, like we're going to come with that same intensity as if it's Ohio State week. And obviously, if players have to say this, that's something that's been lacking in the past few years.
Like you should be game playing like that no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
That's been Jim Harbaugh's biggest knock so far in his careers. Players don't seem excited. Like at Michigan so far, when a big game comes around, Michigan comes out and falls flat on their face every time. And they look flat coming out. They don't look excited. They look nervous, not pumped up. It's nice to see that might finally be changing.
We'll see. Next week they take on Washington. Giles Jackson revenge game. I don't want to. I'm not just saying this because I'm not a Michigan fan, but last year Michigan had a really big win week 1 against Minnesota, killed them. Really seemed like they got over in their heads a little bit and lost to a really bad Michigan State team the week after. So in a big game though, I mean, obviously that's a big game and just kind of looking the same right now. So hopefully they can not have the same scenario as last year at least and win this big game next week against Washington.
I think you just got to realize that you're not as much as like Michigan is Michigan and like it's a good football school and everybody knows that. Lately, you haven't been the Michigan of old. You guys, we've been really struggling.
And it's like
you're not invincible.
I mean, the Michigan team has been better in the last like 3 or 4 years than it has been the 5 or 6 years before that stretch. But it's just the expectations are much higher than they used to be, though.
Yeah,
with Jim Harbaugh, with always having a great recruiting class. It wasn't really like that like 8-9 years ago, but. Now things are a little different, but Washington lost though. I forgot who they lost to, but they got upset by somebody. So
were they ranked?
Yeah, if they were, they might have been ranked, but they were like they were close to being ranked if they weren't. But yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad for Michigan though, because then it's like, are they gonna?
I just want them to.
Is it gonna make Washington have a chip on their shoulder and like now we have to win this game? You can't start 0-2.
Whether or not they have the chip on their shoulder, the way they've been talking this year says that they should come out with more energy than Washington. But this is like that first step in proving it. Is this year really the year where it's different, where we're starting somewhere new and doing something a lot different?
Moving on, though, from Michigan State talk, the big-time college football game of the week was Georgia-Clemson. Number 5 ranked Georgia versus number 3 Clemson. And a defensive-minded game, which was not really what expected. I mean, Georgia has one of the best defenses in college football. But still, anytime Clemson is playing in a game, you're going to expect high score. I mean, that's just how it has been the last several years. But they don't have Trevor Lawrence anymore. And not saying that I'm a DJ is what I'm going to call him because I cannot say his last name. Ugalele, something like that. But he's still supposed to be one of the better quarterbacks in college football this year. But that Georgia defense played really well. The only touchdown of the game was the pick 6 for Georgia. And this was, it was really cool to see Georgia pull off the win, though.
Mm-hmm. I had a buddy who took the over on the score of this game. It was like 45 or something like that. I was
going to say, the over was probably high, too.
It was like 44 and a half or maybe 48. He took the over on that.
Yeah, that was...
biting his tongue.
Yeah, but it's so hard to take the under, though, because then you have to root for a boring
game. Who wants to do that?
Exactly.
Especially when it's Clemson and Georgia, two teams that I don't really care who wins. I just want a good football game.
Exactly.
I'm not going to root for a defensive-minded game.
And then another important college football game that happened, Notre Dame played Florida State and almost lost. Did you see how this game ended?
I didn't see this.
So, apparently, it was... Notre Dame was winning, and Florida State kicked a field goal to either tie the game or win the game, and they made it, and it was like a 40-some yard field goal, but there was a penalty, or they called a timeout, or something happened where they had to redo the kick, and it was a closer kick, though. It wasn't a farther kick, and the Florida State kicker missed it, and so Notre Dame won. Yeah.
That is how.
I know, dude.
That is like...
But Notre Dame, they were a college football playoff team last year. One of the best in the nation, and they kind of got off to a rocky start to start their year too. So Oklahoma was another team that had a Spencer Rattler, supposed to be a Heisman Watch guy. They almost lost to Tulane, I think, was the team they played.
Shaky game.
Yeah.
Or Toledo.
It was one not good school. Like a school they should kill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Oregon, Ohio State is next week, and Oregon almost lost to to some school, to Fresno State, I think, too. So
There was another crazy close game by bad teams. Maybe it was the Oklahoma game. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Was that the one that was on during the Clemson, Georgia that we were watching? Or there wasn't another game on.
I don't think so. I don't remember.
It was on during the Michigan game. Whatever game was on during the Michigan game.
I think that was the Oklahoma game.
one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But and then Penn State beat Wisconsin as well, so that's another Big Ten matchup with a great game.
And what are those two ranked?
They were both in the teens. I think Wisconsin was ranked a little higher than Penn State, but Penn State got the win.
So Ohio State's the highest ranked Big Ten team. Is that Penn State, Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because Michigan wasn't, State
Not
isn't.
ranked.
I don't know if there's any other teams that are
Minnesota wouldn't
ranked.
be, right?
No, I don't think they were, because they lost to Ohio State, so they played pretty well though.
Yeah.
Oh, Indiana is probably ranked. They're probably ranked. But that's pretty much it.
I didn't know that. I was curious because I was thinking if Michigan's not ranked.
If they're not ranked, they are one of the better Big Ten teams anyways. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that pretty much it for college football talk?
Yeah, I think so. I am excited to watch DJ play more. I wasn't like overly impressed by him, but you got to realize, I mean, it's Georgia's defense, but I like the way he plays.
And he played good last year when Trevor Lawrence was out from COVID and stuff too. So
I like the way he looks. I like the way he looks while he plays.
Oh, you're right, yeah. Yeah, he looks great while he plays. So let's move on to some NBA news. We had, shortly after our podcast last week, a trade went down in the NBA, and this one hit close to home as the Detroit Pistons sent Sekou Doumbouya, Jahlil Okafor to the Brooklyn Nets for veteran center DeAndre Jordan and 4 second-round picks. The Pistons, shortly after, said they're going to waive DeAndre Jordan, and that waive actually became official today. Pretty much, they're going to be paying DeAndre Jordan $8 million this year and next year, so $16 million total. He gave back $4 million of his $20 million he was owed. And Brooklyn also traded us like $5 million in the trade, too.
Yeah, so like it's not even, we're only paying him. Like,
and it's like we're not going to be spending that money anyways. Like it's pretty much only going to affect this upcoming offseason, which is like not even going to be a big one anyways. It's probably going to be the one after that offseason.
I think Troy Weaver's just going to go out and get some solid role players and wait to make his big splash.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But what do we think, though? I mean, so pretty much we trade away, because I'm seeing mixed emotions mixed results from Pistons fans about this trade, because yes, Sekou was a guy that we didn't know how good he really is going to end up being, but we're also a rebuilding franchise that traded away one of our youngest players to pay a guy that's not even going to play for us, you know?
I mean, the alternative is just more minutes for the guys who have already proven themselves. We've got so many young guys on the team. Now we're having to sit here and pick and choose our young guys. Felt like the same thing kind of happened with Chris Middleton, where it was picking and choosing, and Chris Middleton was the guy we didn't pick or choose, and it was like, oh shit, shouldn't have dealt him away.
That one's a little different though. He was kind of just a throw into that trade.
Yeah, he wasn't very, and he
wasn't a good player.
No, he had no.
Well, obviously
upside
Sekou
at
isn't, but Sekou was a first round pick. Like Middleton was just a random.
And obviously, like the French connection is now gone between him and Killian.
Yeah.
So I don't know who Killian is going to speak French with on the team now, but like you got to get somebody in there.
Yeah.
But this is. I like the trade a lot. I love the 4 seconds because Troy Weaver's either going to pick, Luka Garza, Isaiah Livers, those type guys, or he's going to trade him away, which I assume he'll do because we don't need many more second-round draft picks on this team.
I think they're all from different years, though, too, aren't they?
There's one from like 2027.
Yeah.
Like way
a lot
late.
of future picks.
Which is perfect.
And then the thing that Barry Hill said to me, too, that kind of made me like cool with it too, is one of those second round picks or whatever we do will probably turn out to be a better player than Sekou.
Oh, easily.
Like,
I would think so.
I mean, but like there's a chance. But Sekou, I mean, it does suck to see him leave. Like I wouldn't have minded him staying on the team. We talked about him possibly getting moved, and it does suck because he was our first round pick from like 2 years ago. But Troy Weaver clearly wants the guys that he wants on this team, and Sekou was a guy that he didn't draft. So pretty much everyone on, not pretty much, everyone on this team is Troy Weaver's team. So it's cool to see that. Okafor getting moved, I'm fine with that because now Isaiah Stewart is going to get a lot more playing time, and we won't have to worry about, I mean, last year there was just so many games where Okafor would be in, and it was just like, dude, why is Isaiah Stewart playing 18 minutes and Okafor's playing 20? Like, give Okafor 5 minutes.
And that's what you're doing with Sekou, getting rid of both those guys, just open up the floor for so many more minutes for other guys. And now you don't have to worry about Sekou.
Yeah.
Keep looking at him at the bench saying, oh, man, I want to get you in, but, we're within 10 points. I can't put you in, buddy.
And a move did need to be made by the Pistons because we had one over the roster spot or roster, how many you're allowed.
Now we have 2 open spots.
Now we have 1 open spot because we traded 2 guys away, got DeAndre Jordan, and then cut DeAndre Jordan, but we were 1 over. So,
well, then you take away 2.
We were 1 over before, so that gives us 1 open spot.
Yeah.
So we have an extra spot. And it's really weird because now I'm seeing talks that Troy Weaver's probably going to make another trade because it doesn't make sense for us to sign somebody this late. And so I was reading an article this morning that was saying expect this to be the first of a series of moves for Troy Weaver and the Pistons.
Timeout. We lost 3 players. We lost 3 players.
You can have 15 players, right? You can have 15. We had 16. One needed to go. Got rid of 2. Got 1.
And then got rid of him.
So we gained 2. So we have 14. So we need 1 more.
No, we gained 3.
No, we didn't, Easton. No, we didn't. So we had 16 guys.
Yeah.
Traded away 2.
So -2. We have 14
Minus
guys.
2. That's 14. We don't even have to include DeAndre Jordan. That's 14.
Oh, I see now. Yes. Duh. Yeah.
It's not like we had DeAndre Jordan in first.
Yeah,
so we have
right.
1 open
Right.
spot. But yeah, I don't know if we're gonna make a move, a trade. I really don't know. We'll see what happens though.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this Pistons team this year.
Me too. I can't wait.
I literally cannot wait for this whole season.
Yeah, is that pretty much it for NBA talk though? Are we ready to DeAndre Jordan is signing with the Lakers too. I guess
he just signed with the Lakers before the wave went through.
Yeah, I know.
Before we even waived him.
Before he probably was that's tampering probably.
Ban the Lakers from basketball.
They should owe us a draft compensation for it. What?
Mike started making funny noises.
But yeah, let's hop into what we've been waiting to do for quite some time now, and that is the weekly picks. We don't have to do it yet. But before we obviously do the weekly picks, I have a couple weekly pick stats from last year. Can you guess what?
Wait a minute. You went through and did stats for nerds.
I mean, it's not
stuff?
Nothing crazy.
It's not gonna be wild
percentage of what team got picked the most.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I was just gonna ask, when do you think the last episode we did weekly picks was? This is episode 106 today.
Episode 74.
Kind of close. Episode 65. So it's been 40 episodes now.
So I was 2 months off.
Yeah. That's a lot of time that we haven't done weekly picks for. And then I just have the all-time high in
for a game
for how many picks you got right in a week. The all-time high is 13 by you, but that was in week 17 last year when I got 10 in that week too. But,
because players were sitting.
Yeah, and you kind of know. So that one is the all-time high, but for a regular week, you still have the all-time high with 11, and then you and me each got 10 a bunch of times. But in week 13, you got 11 right, which was
nice.
The all-time record.
That's a big week for me because I would have been losing at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, last year, if you didn't know, I had a huge lead in weekly picks, and I ended up blowing it. So the way we do weekly picks, though, is obviously we pick all the games. It's pretty simple. We pick all the games, and then if there is a tie, our tiebreakers come down to the primetime games, which is Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. And, if there's 3 of those games, so if I got 2 of those right, Easton got 1, I get the win for the week. And then if those tie, we have a second tiebreaker where we just pick a game that we both did, that we both picked different teams for, and we both feel confident in our choice. So that's how we do the tiebreakers.
It's incredibly interesting.
It's very fun. I love weekly picks. It's like almost another fantasy football thing because I'll be on Sunday. I'm going through the games who's doing good on my fantasy team, but then it's oh shoot, there's a minute left in this game.
Blah, blah, blah.
I need this team to win. For weekly picks, we should start putting actual money on these. Not between you and me. Or I guess we can't sports gamble yet, but.
Yeah.
Once we're 21, we're gonna gamble crazy amounts on these.
We will, on DraftKings and stuff.
Yeah, a whole parlay of
all 16 games, $3.
No one will never hit that.
Never.
I mean, we'd have to get all 16 right.
And put $3 on it to win 30 mil. The odds on that have to be wild.
So I think it is time for the weekly picks.
Weekly picks, it's the weekly picks. It's the high tempo weekly NFL picks.
Wow.
Weekly picks season 2.
You could not hear that as well as I could. Holy shit, did that sound awesome. It has been so long since I've heard
I know.
that.
I missed the weekly picks jingle. It's back now every week. And weekly picks season 2, week 1. Let's get into it.
Let's go, baby.
Let's start it off. Thursday night football, the first game of the year. The Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa, the reigning champs.
Reigning champs got to start off the next season doing well. You can't lose the first game of the year. Going Bucks.
Especially to the Cowboys.
Can't lose to the
I'm
Cowboys.
not picking the Cowboys.
Hell
I'm
no.
picking Tampa Bay. Also, I'm not putting any dumb restrictions on myself this year either. Because that, I feel like, low-key kind of lost me the
And I know why you
season
say
last
that
year.
right now. Because you picked the Packers over the Saints.
No, I'm just saying in general, because I had like 4 different
Yeah,
ones.
you had
I
a
couldn't
million.
pick the Packers, couldn't pick against the Lions.
Something with the...
Couldn't
I
pick
had
the
Rams.
No, I couldn't pick the Rams because I said as soon as the team that loses to the Jets, I won't pick them because I didn't think the Jets would win. And so I couldn't pick the Rams for the last like 4 weeks of the year.
Yep.
I don't
It was bad.
It was dumb. I
Yeah.
didn't pick the Cowboys like ever just cuz. But yeah, I got the Bucks too, first game. So, do you want me to just go how
Yeah.
I have my
Yep.
order? Okay. Next game, the two really bad teams taking each other on here. The Jacksonville Jaguars heading to Houston to take on the Texans. This is like a hard one because they're both going to be bad.
And they're both so bad.
Yeah.
And like, I have no idea what to expect out of Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
I just think he'd play football in 4 years.
Exactly.
So I'm going with Trevor Lawrence. I'm going go Jaguars.
I am going with the Houston Texans in this game, even though if the Texans do win a game this year, it will be this one and they'll lose out, just like how Jacksonville did last year. Because Houston's going to be really bad, but it's Trevor Lawrence's first game. It's Urban Meyer's first game. Things might not go that well. I'm going with Houston just because.
Yeah, I low-key, I thought about picking against the Jaguars strictly out of like hate for Urban Meyer. Or dislike, I shouldn't say hate.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't hate that guy.
I do. Next game, the LA Chargers are heading to the D.C. area to take on the Washington football team.
Go Chargers. I have Eckler in fantasy. I wanted Herbert in fantasy. Today I've been making a deal to try and get Keenan Allen. So I'm really going
You're
all
making
in.
a lot of trades.
I make so many trades in fantasy. I don't really play around. I think it's more fun.
Yeah, it definitely is more fun that way. I have my family draft tonight, so I'm super excited.
Going for
that.
Herbert, Eckler, and Keenan.
No.
Might as well. I don't
Three
see why
dudes on
you
the
would.
same team. I picked the Washington football team in this game. I think this is going to be a really good game, though. I like this matchup.
Be weary of Washington football. I think they're going to be sneaky good this year. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Sneaky damn good.
Going to start off with a win in week 1. Next game, the Seattle Seahawks are taking on the Indianapolis Colts.
Colts revamped. All the talk is how they're supposed to be one of the best teams in the NFL this year. Great defense, great O-line, probably the best O-line in football. Go Colts. I got them over the Seahawks. You know, they've done a million times as a Seahawks team, it feels like. However, Tyler Lockett can catch as many passes as he wants.
Just bring up every guy that's on. Do I have anybody in my other league on these teams? I don't think I have anybody on these teams. I picked the Seahawks, though. No Carson Wentz for the Colts. No, thank you. I'm taking the Seahawks. We have a lot of different
A
ones.
lot of different ones off rip.
Next game, the New York Jets are heading to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Sam Darnold revenge game in week 1.
Sam Darnold revenge game stopped short by the Zach Wilson show.
Oh,
I actually don't even like Zach Wilson that much. I just think the Jets are going to get their win early and then leave. I think they're going to say, we'll win this game, then we're done.
that'd be cool if they won week 1.
Yeah, it would be. And big Corey Davis fan. Huge one. I love Corey Davis.
Is he on your fantasy team?
No, just like him.
I picked Carolina in this game. I'm not going with the Jets. Don't trust them. And yeah.
That's just like one of them picks that's crazy. It'd
Yeah,
be cool to guess.
yeah,
the
that's the
Jets.
thing. Like, you can't argue these
No,
picks.
what am I
Because the better team doesn't win every week. That's
No.
just not how it goes.
Absolutely not.
Especially picking week 1 is
Week
so
1
hard.
is by far. We'll have like 6s and 7s on
Yeah.
the side of 7.
Definitely.
I'll probably get a 13, but like you'll probably have a 6 or something.
Right, yeah. Next game, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Cincinnati Bengals.
No way I'm picking against the Vikings. No shot I'm picking against the Vikings against the freaking Bengals. Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins. That is an unbelievable offense. So talented. And I've got Vikings, no doubt.
Yeah, I take Vikings as well. I was considering the Bengals. I think Burrow is playing week 1, but I still went with Minnesota here. Next game, this is a good one. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Tennessee Titans.
Again, the revamped offense of the Titans, losing Corey Davis, bringing in Julio Jones as their replacement. That's a big-time move. Derrick Henry coming off one of the greatest seasons a running back has seen in a long time, probably since Adrian Peterson.
Quite some time, yeah.
I mean, Le'Veon Bell had a really good year in there, too. But I am going with the Titans' new offense to beat the Cardinals, even though I expect this game to be extremely high scoring.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. Yeah, both really good offenses in this game. I went with the Cardinals in this one, going with the road team. We're really like
we're completely different.
It's pretty cool. Usually we have a lot of the same too.
But we will after week 1.
Yeah. Next game, we have the San Francisco 49ers heading to Ford Field to take on your very own Detroit Lions.
Detroit. I know. I
can say the Detroit
I know it's
basketball.
the wrong one, but
yeah, first game under the new coaching staff, under the new front office. Ford Field is going to be packed. I would love to be at this game.
Oh, I would love to.
It would be awesome.
I would love to.
But
too bad we already got tickets to one Lions game.
Yeah. Next, or who do you got though?
I definitely got the 49ers in this game. I don't expect the Lions to win many games this year. I'm kind of hoping they don't. I don't need to be in a 7-win team or a 6-win team.
You see, I was thinking about that, but I feel like they're going to get if you get a top 3 pick as the Lions, you're kind of forced to draft quarterback. And I am not impressed with any of these quarterbacks yet that are coming into this class. Like, not one of them has stuck out to me. So if we don't get a top pick, that's fine. I picked the Lions, of course. I mean, it's week 1. Like, as the season goes on and they suck, I will start to not pick them. But week 1, I got to pick the Lions.
Yeah.
And I will be rooting for them, obviously.
I'm rooting for them every game.
Yeah, but you're going with the safe pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Jimmy Garoppolo is supposed to start, I think, right? For the Niners? I'm pretty sure Garoppolo is starting. Clue. And I don't know, though, dude. Raheem Mostert in their backfield is going to tear us apart. Whatever, I'm still picking the Lions. I'm excited to see who shines in the wide receiver core for the Lions, too, because somebody has to be a pretty good receiver. I mean, not pretty good, but someone has to be the number 1. We don't really know who it's going to be, so I'm excited to see how that goes.
I can't think of a better time. We forgot to do it the last few episodes for the shout-out to come after the Lions. Now, I've already got the comment picked out. Both sat down here, drank a Red Bull. Just put it in there. At Red Bull in the comments. Sponsor us. That's all we need. Just at Red Bull.
Also, if you've been commenting shout out of the week and we've forgotten to shout you out, sorry, we just forget.
We forget.
Sometimes we just forget.
There's lots of things that go through our heads. Sometimes we just don't forget.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we do forget.
Next game. This one is going to be a really good game. The Pittsburgh Steelers are taking on the Buffalo Bills.
Man, am I excited for this game. My least favorite team in the NFL, easily. Second least favorite team in the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I really am hoping they lose this football game to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's that way for a lot of people. Everybody loves Bills. Bills Mafia is super cool. Stephon Diggs is my favorite wide receiver in the NFL. I can't get him in fantasy, sadly. I've tried.
Who's got him?
Nate Reel, and he is stingy
with
him. No, he's just stingy with Stephon Diggs. He knows how bad I want him. So I picked the Bills in this game.
Yeah, I picked the Bills as well. I think the Bills it's a lot of people's, like, at least a lot of people like the Bills. It's hard to root against them unless you're probably a Patriots fan or a Jets fan or something.
They're just super exciting football. They play football. Very fun. Josh Allen is super energetic.
They have a lot of fun guys on their squad, definitely. And their fan base is super crazy, too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I got the Bills as well. Next game, the Philadelphia Eagles are taking on the Atlanta Falcons.
Kyle Pitts' debut. Also, Jalen Hurts' debut as the starting quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
He is the guy right now.
But they got Minshew magic right there, ready to go.
For no reason. I really don't get that because I feel like you got to go all in.
They're not confident in Hurts?
Maybe not, but that is not the way to do it with your young quarterback who everybody else is not confident in. But I went with Jalen Hurts in his first true. I'm gonna call it his first true start for the Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles in this game. I hope Jalen Hurts has a really good game. I like Jalen Hurts.
I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons in this game. Their offense is going to be pretty good. I don't know how Jalen Hurts is going to play. We'll see if Philly's defense is all right. Devontae Smith making his debut as well. Two really good offensive rookies making their debut, but I'm going with ATL. Next game, we have another really, really good game. The Cleveland Browns are headed to Kansas City to take on the reigning Super Bowl runner-ups, Kansas City Chiefs.
This game, again, is two of my favorite teams to watch in football, and I think that can be said for a lot of the best teams in football. Everybody likes watching the best teams in football. But I have become, and you've heard me talk about them, and just slowly you've seen me develop into a fan of the Browns. I love Baker Mayfield. I like Nick Chubb. Odell's cool there. Myles Garrett is super cool there. I like this team a lot, and I would love to see them beat and upset, even though it's a small upset, the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1, so I went with Browns.
I was really thinking about picking the Browns, but I didn't. I picked the Chiefs.
It just feels
I really
like
don't have a reason. Yeah.
It feels like one of those games, and I know Patrick Mahomes is the same way, where they are Patrick and Baker are super energetic and very vocal leaders in the locker room. And I can imagine the pump-up speech before these games are wild from these two.
Rematch of the playoffs last year, too. Yeah, this is going to be a good one, but I went with Kansas City. Next, how is this game not prime time, by the way? That's kind of
This is a great game.
Next, we have the Green Bay Packers headed to Louisiana, where are they going to be able to play in New Orleans?
No, because even
Didn't LSU play, though? I'm pretty sure they played in
LSU, they moved the game.
Did they?
I thought so. I thought I read that they moved the game.
I'm not sure. But, yeah, it's supposed to be in New Orleans. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but Green Bay versus New Orleans. I went with Green Bay. Yeah.
I went with the Saints.
Really?
I mean, I'm more so just hoping Jameis Winston shines. I don't know why.
Cool.
He's just a goob. He's just an absolute goon. I love that guy.
Yeah, I went with Green Bay, though.
I have no reason to pick the
I don't have a
Saints.
reason either. I would love to pick against Green Bay. Won't be rooting for them. I just picked them, though. Next, we have the Denver Broncos taking on the New York Giants.
Here's one where I'm going to go with the team that I like more than most people like this year. I'm going with the Giants. I am not a guy who hates Daniel Jones at all. I think he's a decent quarterback. It's Saquon's first game back. Well, supposed to be. I think he's still questionable, but he's been practicing and stuff.
Did you end up trading him away, or is he still on your team?
He's still on my team.
Okay.
I'm going to keep him for the most part. And then I've also got Kenny Galladay, but he doesn't start for me. But I am extremely excited to watch this game, and I'm rooting for the Giants.
Yeah, I picked the Giants as well. A lot of people are saying the Broncos are a sleeper team this year.
I
don't know.
Opposite.
I don't really see it. I think they'll be another kind of average to below average team. The Giants, they're in a really bad division, so a lot of things could go. They could finish 1 or they could finish 4. Really.
Yep.
But I'm going to have them starting off with a win against the Broncos.
Every game for that division for every team is extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Or important.
Important, yeah.
Because if you win the game, you're probably taking a lead on the division.
Next, we have the Miami Dolphins taking on the New England Patriots.
This is another game I'm really excited for. Mac Jones looked spectacular in the preseason. His reads are unreal. His deep ball is way better than everybody thought, and he is incredibly smart. And it came out that he had to teach Cam Newton the playbook at one point. He was teaching him the playbook.
That's weird.
That is whack. No wonder Cam Newton can't find his way.
Cam Newton's still not on a team, by the way.
With all that being said, go Dolphins. I like the Dolphins. I love their colors. Tua, I still don't understand why everybody's so quick to hop off his bandwagon and get off the train. I understand he hasn't been impressive in his first games that he's played, and Fitzmagic had a good year last year. But I still don't get why we're hopping off so early with Tua. So I'm going with Dolphins.
Yeah, battle of young QBs in this one. I'm taking New England, but this is Miami and New England are going to be two very similar teams all year, I feel like. They both kind of have an average backfield, a pretty good defense, young QBs. I mean, they have a lot of similarities. No Will Fuller in week 1 for Miami. He's still facing his suspension from last year. But I got New England taking this one. Sunday Night Football, we have the Chicago Bears taking on the newly just good team. I don't know what to say.
Home to Stafford.
New face of the franchise, Stafford. and the LA Rams.
Talk about a game I'm excited for. I will be glued to the screen this whole game.
I can't wait for this game.
Literally
bro.
cannot wait. Go Rams. There's no question about it. I'm rooting hard for Stafford on national TV.
Bears probably happy Stafford's out of the NFC North. Oh, you got to take him on week 1 in LA. Rams all day, baby. All
I'm hoping
day.
for a blowout.
I can't wait to watch this game, actually. Dude.
You have no idea.
I'm excited.
I will be glued all game to the TV. Oh, my word. Oh, my God. Oh.
And then moving on to Monday Night Football. We have the Baltimore Ravens taking on John Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Go Birds, baby. Go Birds. I expect the Ravens to value every win way more and value every game more than they did last year because they ran into off-the-field issues right in the middle of the season with COVID. So I think they're going to value each game more and actually come out winning more games than they did last year because of that. So I'm going to pick the Ravens.
Yeah, they had a lot of COVID issues last year. I have the Ravens winning this one as well. There's been talk about Le'Veon Bell signing with them as obviously J.K. Dobbins is out for the year, and then Justice Hill, another one of their running backs, is also out for the year. So it's just Gus Edwards right now.
Wasn't this the same team that didn't have a running back last year, like for the one game because of COVID?
I don't really know.
I think they didn't have a running back.
Not really sure.
Not sure either.
But yeah, that's it for weekly picks. Anything else you got to say about that?
Really excited for football to start up. Watching college football
Same.
got me juiced for the rest of football. I haven't seen football in a while. It feels like way longer than what the NBA season felt like.
Yeah,
like
it was definitely a way longer break.
Way longer.
And I'm
So
just excited to get off to a W in week 1 of weekly picks. So
No way. No shot.
let's move on to
Wait, should we pick our game? We need to pick our game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, should we make it the Lions game? No, I'm just kidding. What's like a good game that we both pick different?
What was
Arizona, you picked the Titans, right?
What was the game Packers versus Saints isn't prime time.
No, it's not prime time. But that's like, I mean, we could go with that one. I was thinking just like a game where it's like two really good teams. I feel like the Packers are just the better team than the Saints.
Yeah.
Like you picked the
So what are you
Titans over
thinking?
the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking that game.
Yep, that's a great game.
All right, I'll start. You got a pen?
No, we'll
That's
start
fine.
off.
We'll
there,
remember.
so we'll
Arizona,
remember.
Tennessee. Remember that.
Yep.
That's the tiebreaker for the non-prime time. All right, let's move on. Top 10 power forwards in the NBA. We did top 10 centers last week. If you did not hear that, go check it out. You can check it out on TikTok. We posted that. You can just go listen to our podcast on YouTube and listen to our top 10 centers because that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Top 10 power forwards is a much more difficult list and is a much more talented list than the centers. Like we said, it only gets harder as we go
gets smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about our list last year, though. The power forwards is kind of a weird one because a lot of guys' positions changed. We're using ESPN's positions, but last year, Bam Adebayo was a power forward. Jason Tatum was a power forward. That's pretty much it, I guess. But there's a few guys that are power forwards this year that weren't last year. So
Yep, like a Jaren Jackson Jr. was a center last year.
Yeah, exactly.
He's power forward this season.
So our top 1 and 2 were the same. We had Giannis and AD at 1 and 2.
So this is last year.
Yeah, last year.
Okay.
I had Tatum at 3. You had Siakam at 3.
Oh my God.
And then you picked Tatum to win MVP with Siakam ranked over him.
It was going into the year, not my expectations for
exactly.
the end of the year.
I have Siakam at 4, though, and you had Tatum at 4. We each had Bam at 5, so Siakam over Bam. Oh, that's tough. I mean, Siakam just let us all down last year. But
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like they're my ratings based on the season before.
Yeah.
They're not ranked on last
No,
year's
yeah,
season.
obviously. And then we each had Domantas Sabonis at number 6. I had Danilo Gallinari at 7. And you had Paul Millsap at 7, which both of those are just a little like
Dudes aren't
a
even
year from
close
now.
to the
It's
list
like,
now.
yeah. We each had John Collins at number 8. I had Zion at number 9. You had Tobias Harris at 9. I had Tobias Harris at 10. And you had Christian Wood at 10. So
Wow.
there's no Zion on the list for you.
Wow.
I know, isn't that so weird?
Where was Zion on your list?
Number 9. I mean, that's
Okay.
still not even very. I had
But now look at
Gallinari over Zion. Like, obviously, a year ago, things are different,
Yeah.
but it's just weird to think
Now
about.
Zion's a baller.
Like John Collins over Zion? What? But he was only coming off of his 19-game rookie season. So,
Yep.
top 10 power forwards, though. Let's get into it, man.
Number 10. This
Wait,
guy.
honorable mention.
Oh, honorable mentions.
I
I'm
only
gonna,
have one honorable mention.
Yeah, I don't really. I have like P.J. Washington, John Isaac,
P.J. Washington.
Rui Hachimura, Aaron Gordon, Brandon Clark. That's it.
Yeah, I guess I could throw like Aaron Gordon in mine, but I have Jaren Jackson Jr. as an honorable mention.
Yeah, I don't have him in there either.
He's my only guy that I thought deserved to be written down. I think we're gonna have at least the same 10 guys though.
I would think so.
I think we're gonna have the same 10. I don't think that because that's the bottom part of the list is usually hard. Like who sneaks into the top 10. I think
is like the top.
It's like the top
5.
10, and then it's like outside of that, it'd be really hard to sneak somebody else.
Yeah,
in.
I'd say the 4 through 6 spot is extremely hard for this. The 3 through 6 spot is extremely hard on this list.
Yeah.
For me. Like I sat there for a minute. I started this at noon.
I
and
thought
finished at
honestly for
12:40.
me, like the 6 through 9 spot was really difficult for me.
I guess with the
My
6
top
through
5,
9,
I was pretty like I'm cool with that. Like it was pretty quick.
with the 6 through 9 or the 6 through 9 or 6 through 10. The only thing is like I'm less likely to argue because these guys aren't like the highly ranked guys.
True.
So like I might not be as confident, but like I don't care as much as I do about top 5.
Yeah,
If that makes
exactly.
any sense.
Let's get it. Number 10.
Number 10, the guy who fell, and I don't want to blame John Collins for falling to 10 and on my list. I don't believe it's his fault. He had a reduced role this last season. Clint Capela showed up, and they really said, we're going to try and make Clint Capela a main part of this offense, and they went out and did it. Great lob catcher from Trae Young, which John Collins also does. But he just had a reduced role this last season. Still had a really great year, and we'll be back with the Hawks, and I expect him to keep improving. And he's going to keep expanding his range on his jump shot until he's shooting like consistent bombs from deep.
Yeah. I also had John Collins at number 10. Definitely is only going to go up from here. I don't see him falling out of the top 10 power forwards anytime soon, unless an emergence of another guy, I guess, takes him out.
Jared Jackson Jr.
True. But Collins had a really good year. I mean, an injury, I guess, could take him out too. But Collins had a really good year last year, played pretty good in the playoffs. Definitely had his moments where he shined. He had his moments where he wasn't as good, but it was his first ever playoff run. So all around, it was a good one. He got paid this offseason, and he's
Not as much as he
be,
wanted going in the offseason.
yeah, but he's going to be an Atlanta Hawk with Trae Young for a long time.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
What a great duo. I can't wait to watch that duo grow. Number 9, this guy is the only guy to blame for him falling. He is alone in his blame, and that is Pascal Siakam. He dropped way low on my list, and he ended the season averaging like 21 points a game, which is, you're a stud if you're scoring 20 points a game in the NBA. However, they were kind of empty, a lot of them, and his start to the season was abysmal. That was when Spinakam or whatever,
Yeah.
Pascal's just spin a lot. He did not look great at the start of the season, and that's why I'm putting him at 9. And the rest of the guys, I think, all had better years than him. And they might not be better players than him, but I think they had better years than him last season.
Yeah, and I mean, it's obviously this isn't just like based off of last year, but it takes a large consideration.
Yeah, if I'm
into
saying the
it,
top 10 players going into this next season, I'm going to heavily consider last season.
Yeah, exactly.
Like heavily.
I do not have Pascal Ciaco at number 9, though. I have Tobias Harris at number 9. Tobias Harris had a pretty good season this year. He was the second best. He was the second best offensive player on the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, Ben Simmons was probably the second best player, but you could argue Tobias Harris, I guess, especially in the playoffs, he was the second best player. But yeah, Tobias definitely like proved the bad contract thing wrong last year. He really had a good season. I mean, they had him running the small forward next to Horford and Embiid 2 years ago when he didn't really look that good. And he finally was naturally playing the power forward last year next to Embiid. Played really well, a really good scorer, good shooter. His defense obviously isn't the best, but Tobias Harris is still one of the better
Pure scorers.
non-all-star players in the NBA. Like, he's one of the best guys to not make an all-star game in the NBA.
Yeah, and he's just a straight bucket getter. Like,
Yeah.
Tobias Harris gives you buckets. Super smooth, very efficient last season, which was the big thing for him.
Yeah.
His efficiency 2 years ago
I mean,
was
he would have
horrible.
games where he'd just take over, too.
And just dominate. His
Yeah.
pull-up jump shot's unreal. He'll post you up. He's really quick and smooth compared to the other power forwards in the league. Not all of them, but a lot of them. He's very much quicker than them. And he is my number 8. He is one spot in front of Pascal, and that's strictly based off the years the teams had. And I think Tobias filled his role perfectly this year, and that's a huge part. When you can do something perfectly, that's huge.
I have Siakam at number 8. I just put Siakam over Tobias Harris because they kind of had reversed seasons, I guess. Like 2 years ago, Tobias had a really bad year, and then he improved last year, and then you flip it, Siakam was really good 2 years ago and had a disappointing year last year. But I think Siakam was better in his better year than Tobias Harris was. And I think Siakam literally just had a bad season because the whole Raptors organization just had a really odd year. I mean, they weren't playing at home at all. They never had fans the whole year. They had a lot of injury issues all season. Definitely not making excuses for Siakam. And like you said, he still had a pretty decent statistical year. He probably put up very similar stats to Tobias Harris, but it just wasn't what we expected from Siakam coming off of a All-NBA second team All-NBA year that he had 2 years ago. And I really hope Siakam can improve his game again this year because it would really suck if he kind of just like plateaued and was never that good again.
My number 7 is a guy who, in no way, shape, or form is he's the least talented player on this whole list, by far. But he just does things in the game that aren't measured in stats. Average like 9 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. That's Draymond Green. I think he was third in the league in assists with 8.7.
Top 5, definitely.
Which is unreal. I mean, he's 6'6" power forward who plays point guard on offense. Draymond Green had a very good year this year. All NBA defender, an absolute stud, averaging 9, 8, and 8. But that 9, 8, and 8 also makes it very hard for me to bump him up into that top 6. And the 6 guys in front of him are the 6 guys in front of him, and you realize he can't slide in there.
Draymond Green, I also have him at number 7. Definitely just plays above the box score. I mean, 100%. Draymond Green really was a huge piece of this Warriors team last year, especially when 2 years ago when they were really bad. Everyone was saying Draymond was kind of washed. He needs Steph Curry to be good, which I do. I think his game is elevated with Steph Curry, but that is strictly because he knows how to. I think Steph Curry's game is not nearly as good without Draymond Green.
Agreed.
Too. Draymond Green knows how to get Steph Curry so open, how to get him his points. And Draymond Green, obviously, he was finished 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year. Like you said, he was one of the top guys in assists this season. Is going to play great defense on anybody. One of the best leaders in the NBA. And I'm excited to see how he's going to do with all these younger forwards and big men that they have on the team. Because last year we saw a lot of times where he was coaching James Wiseman on the court and teaching him things. We'll see if he does that with Kuminga and Moses Moody too. But Draymond at number 7.
Remember, these players had a summer to deal with Draymond and listen to him now. James Wiseman now has an actual summer under his belt listening to Draymond and learning how to screen. I expect this Warriors team to be way better because a team that's going to benefit the most from having extra time to practice is this Warriors team. I expect them to come out and be lethal this next season, especially with having a top 7-point power forward in the NBA. My number 6 is a guy who you could definitely argue to be higher, and I would get it. But he had a disappointing year last year, and he was injured for most of the year and injured a lot. And that's Anthony Davis.
Really? Wow.
And that's strictly based off the recency bias of last season, where he was just not the same Anthony Davis we've been seeing in the past. I really believe he needs to go back to playing a lot more center minutes. I don't like him at the forward as much as I like him at the center. He just doesn't fit the style of a power forward that I want to see on this Lakers team next to LeBron. Because they don't have another shooting center. Their other center just clogs the paint at that point. And that takes a whole level away from AD's
Drummond
game.
was not the answer,
Was far from it. So I'm not going to blame AD because he didn't get as much paint touches as he would have wanted this season. However, I have to take into account, and that's why I got AD at number 6.
I did not expect that. I mean, AD definitely had a disappointing year last year for him.
He averaged like 20, 21, or 20.3
Yeah, I think like 21 points, like 8 or 9 rebounds, but was injured for a large majority of the year.
A lot of the year.
And obviously that you have to take that into consideration a little bit. But when AD is healthy and he's still one of the top rim protectors in the NBA, one of the best defensive forwards in the NBA, is still a really good scorer. I don't have AD quite that low, but I have Domantas Sabonis at number 6. Had a fantastic year last year. Really he was an all-star for the second straight year. one of the better offensive big men, I guess, in the NBA. The Pacers, I'll still talk about. It's been talked about him and Miles Turner, one of them getting moved for so long now. Still hasn't happened. I don't see why it can't work. I mean, Miles Turner brings the exact opposite of Domantas Sabonis, whereas he is going to protect the rims and
doesn't
Sabonis,
need the ball.
Yeah, doesn't need the ball. Whereas Sabonis, I mean, he had several games where he had a triple-double last year. I think he averaged 5 or 6 assists, a very good playmaker as well. He can stretch the floor slightly, but he is more of a inside the three-point line type of player. I like Sabonis' game a lot. He had a really good year last year. I got him at 6.
And I've got Sabonis at 5. And one thing you didn't mention was that he finished averaging the most rebounds per game of any power forward with 12. That is a lot of rebounds for that guy, especially in the paint next to Miles Turner. He's not alone down there. He's not Drummond, who just stands down there, too. I mean, this dude, that is rebounding.
Not Drummond throwing the ball off the glass to himself to pad his
6 offensive rebounds. And I got Sabonis at 5. Strictly for his success next to another big man. He was extremely successful playing next to another big man who they were looking to move all year. And at that point, you're trying to get him more touches, make him more valuable, show what he can do. And Sabonis still went out and balled out and was an all-star.
Yeah, on a team that didn't make the playoffs too. So Sabonis definitely played really good last year.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5. Wait, are we in the top 5?
Yeah, that was my 5.
My number 5, Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. Most improved player last year. Really just carried this Knicks team to a playoff spot. Randle was a guy that if you would have told me a year ago he would be in the top 5 power forwards in the NBA. And power forward is one of the most top-heavy positions, too. I said you're crazy, but Randle really just balled out last year, became one of the better players in the league, all-NBA player, all-star. And we'll see how he does this year with this new Knicks team. But Randle and Sabonis honestly have a very similar, statistical numbers, I guess. They're going to put up similar numbers. Randle, I think, plays on the perimeter a little more. And I hope he makes the playoffs again next year because he really did underperform in the playoffs. And we'll see if that can improve next year.
Yeah, Randle ended up 28, 9, and 8 or something like that. Wild.
Oh, he didn't
stats.
put up 28 points. That
Was
would
it
be
not?
crazy.
Was it 23?
I think it was 23 or 24, which is still obviously a lot,
Yeah.
but
And I'm actually going to switch my 3 and 4 because looking at it now, it's just wrong. My number 4 is Julius Randle. He was an absolute monster last year until the playoffs hit. And I didn't even think about playoffs recency bias, but I have to take it into account if I'm taking into his whole season last year because that's the only reason he's here. If it wasn't for last year, we don't even talk about his name.
And I mean, he was not good in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was
really
straight up
didn't
not
have.
good.
He literally didn't even have a game where he was good.
So Julius Randle is going to be my number 4. I'm really hoping he has another good year because he was so much fun to watch when he was good.
Honestly, how crazy would it be if he had just this one year where he was so good and then just went back to being a 17 points, bad efficiency.
We saw it happen before.
That would
We've
be
seen
so
it happen.
funny.
Isaiah Thomas did it.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Because Isaiah Thomas was better before he was good.
And he had a few years of being good too.
Yeah.
And he's also 5'9".
But the fall off is what I'm saying. The fall off has happened.
And more of an injury kind of made the fall off happen. But yeah, it definitely could happen. I hope it doesn't.
Me either. I like watching Julius Randle play well.
He's your number 3?
4.
Number 4, yeah. My number 4 is Zion Williamson. I love Zion. I used to be the biggest Zion, not hater, but I just didn't like him at Duke just because I don't like Duke. And I never really thought he would be crazy in the league. Boy, was I wrong. Zion is still just not underrated because I think everyone knows how good Zion is. But people I think still don't realize Zion for sure can still be the best player in the league.
He's one of the most polarizing prospects basketball's ever seen.
I mean, he just dominated last year. There is so many plays of him just, breaking down his, not even highlights, just his offensive skill set. He is so quick. I mean, he has taken these 7-foot bigs off the dribble and rising over the top before they even have a chance to even
move.
Try to, yeah, exactly. He is so fast. It is really unfortunate that Lonzo Ball is no longer on his team because he was a really nice point guard paired up with him. We have Jonas Valanciunas now next to him, so maybe that can open up the paint a little more for Zion. But I hope the Pelicans don't fumble the bag with Zion because it would be a shame to not be able to have any success with a guy of Zion's caliber. Zion was an all-star last year in his second season, and honestly, I think Zion is probably going to be an All-NBA player this year. He was very close to making one this year, so I got Zion at number 4.
And no doubt in my mind, do I see Zion as eventually maybe being the best power forward. Like, there's a very good chance he's the best power forward on this list in 4 years. Granted, there is still Giannis, maybe like 6 years. But Zion is unreal and is straight up. It blew everybody out of the water, I think, with expectations. I don't think anybody expected him to be this great, this good, this early in his career. I mean, he was year 2 player and dominated, averaging like 24 a game.
Yeah, and he don't even shoot threes.
He
doesn't have to.
Did he take a single three last year?
He probably took a few, but I mean, there was most of the games he did not take.
Yeah,
a three.
why would you?
Yeah.
I mean, you can just.
He might have not taken any. Like, I just
I think
assumed
there might
at some
be a chance
point.
he
At some
didn't
point, there was probably a 3 that he shot,
probably from the corner.
But like, he didn't have to.
No, absolutely not. And he is my number 3. And I seriously cannot wait to watch Diane Williamson play basketball again this year. And I'm like you said, if the Pelicans fumble the fact that they have Zion Williamson and only can keep him for 3 years, and he wants out after 3 years, I would feel so bad for Pelicans fans, bro.
Dude, I would feel so bad.
I would feel like, because there's no reason that can't happen to us and Cade. Granted, like, I think we have a much better roster, but that's a scary thought.
And it seems like Cade wants to be in Detroit too, where it's like, has Zion really
Gumbo.
has he shown like emotion that he or just at all that he wants to be in New Orleans? Not really, like not really at all. So.
Cade's been hyping up Detroit, had the Buffs on at draft night. That was the coolest thing still.
Yeah,
ever.
I know.
Underrated cool thing.
Yeah, definitely Zion is he New Orleans needs to figure it out with Zion because it can't be that hard.
No.
It can't be that hard to figure out how to build around him. Devontae Graham over Alonzo Ball.
Not the start.
Not the best start. Yes, the Valanciunas move, I do like that. But we'll see. They're putting a lot of pressure on their other young guards to improve. And unless they decide to make, I don't know. They're such a middle of the pack team almost.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know how
they have young guys, but really other than Zion, none of them have shown that they're going to improve immensely yet. I mean,
BI will get better.
Ingram, I'm not really even counting Ingram because, I mean, I guess he is a younger player still, but I'm talking more like Jackson Hayes, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kyra Lewis Jr. Yes, they're all still very young in their careers, but they haven't shown much yet as far as that they're going to be really good.
I mean,
they added Trey
Lewis,
Murphy in the draft, but
literally no idea what to expect from Kyra Lewis.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect from that guy. Like, did he even play last year?
Yeah, he played a good amount.
Did he?
But they still had Eric Bledsoe, so now he's gone.
And Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Ball.
I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to have a very intense role this year. We'll see how well he plays. But top 3 for me, number 3, I still have Anthony Davis at number 3. Yes, Anthony Davis underperformed last year, but he is still one of the best 11 players in the NBA in my mind. And me putting him any lower than Zion or Randle would go against that. So AD, no matter how bad the year he had last year, if I had to take AD or Zion, AD or Randle, I'm still going with Anthony Davis. And I think that he's going to ball out again this year. And I mean, I don't know. I just hope that the Lakers, I want to say him and the Lakers are going to show, but at the same time, I don't want the Lakers to dominate, I guess. So
me either, but
I really don't know what I want them to root for with the Lakers.
I want them to be really
good. I kind of want Braun to get number 5, but
and Russ to
I
get one.
low-key want the Nets to win though. Like,
what about Russ getting one?
Oh, that's so true, dude.
Russ could get one this year.
But like I want the Pistons, the Eastern Pistons to win the ring though. Like Sekou, Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin,
the low lives.
Jaleel Okafor, all them dudes are gonna get rings.
Yeah, that would be dope. That would be cool.
But AD at number 3. He definitely, there was, when we did this list last year, there was debate AD over Giannis. That's not in the occasion anymore. AD doesn't deserve to be in the top 2, but I think he's still number 3.
Yeah, like top 2 was way different than number 3 this year. Number 3 does not touch top 2. Not even close.
Top 2, this is a debate right here. We'll see what we got.
You think this is a debate?
I mean, I think this is a big time debate right now because these two in the top 2 are considered maybe
it's KD and Giannis,
it might be the top 2 in the NBA. I mean, they're definitely
easily could be number 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have them as the top 1 and 2. So
well, I'll tell you who I got as the best player in the NBA this year. My number 1, which will tell you my number 2. The number 1 power forward in the NBA is Giannis Antetokounmpo. the number 2 power forward in the NBA is Kevin Durant. Giannis was that man this year in the NBA. He was unbelievable in the playoffs, in the regular season. There was doubt, but we had never had any reason to doubt him all year because he never showed a reason to doubt except for his long.
And I think there was just doubt because of the Bucks' disappointing playoffs runs the last 2 years.
Well, is the wall going to work this year? Yeah, he can still run.
Like they were running the wall, and Giannis was still putting up 31, 17, and 5. Like
dominating.
Yeah, the wall is doing a great job. They would still win the game, but anyways.
What's your top 2?
Well, tell me why you have Giannis over KD, though.
And KD is obviously right there. KD doesn't bring it like Giannis does defensively. That's a huge difference in their game. But KD is also the 3-level scorer that he is. Giannis can't step outside the 3-point line. And that's a huge difference in players. However, I'm going to value the ring this last season that Giannis grabbed, the MVP that Giannis grabbed. Giannis is on a roll, and I think he's the best player in the league right now. There's no saying that KD can't be that after this season when the Nets probably make the finals. I mean, it'll be Bucks Nets, and barring any injury,
hopefully,
it'll be Bucks
it just depends on how the standings are. They will play at some point.
I assume they'll be. I really hope they're 1 and 2.
Yeah,
that
would be that's
ideal. Perfect.
Yeah,
or at least opposite.
Because they played last year, but it was in the semis, and it was just like, well, now whoever wins this is gonna win.
Yeah, exactly.
My number 1 and number 2. I have Kevin Durant as a number 1 power forward in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo number 2. I will talk about Giannis first and then talk about KD. Everything you said about Giannis, 100% legit. I have no hate against Giannis.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, the way that Giannis and the Bucks won their ring is I'm just so jealous of Bucks fans. I mean, they literally did it as a Pistons fan, as a small market team. We've talked about this a lot, but it is so perfect the way, obviously the injuries and everything, who cares about that? The way that they drafted their superstar and grew him into the player he is. He didn't leave. They traded for a guy who was a nobody, and he grew into a great player. They traded for Drew Holiday, who isn't a superstar by any means, but they went all in. They have this coach that everyone's saying they got to fire, and he ends up winning them the ring. I mean, Giannis, 50 points in Game 7, one of the best defenders in the NBA, one of the most dominant offensive players in the NBA. There's not much he can't do other than shoot the ball. And he doesn't have to. He literally doesn't have to. And he will, though. I mean, he'll hit random threes. And he shot free throws well in that last game of the finals, too. Kevin Durant, though, at number 1 for me. The first thing is I feel like it doesn't get brought up enough that if Kevin Durant wears a half-size shoe smaller, the Bucks don't win the championship. I feel like that is not talked about enough because Kevin Durant is honestly in NBA history. If there is a player I need to score the ball, it's Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Over Jordan, over LeBron, over Kobe. Kevin Durant is the best scorer, I think. And that, to me, is so important. And we're also forgetting that Kevin Durant came off of a season where he did not play for an entire year, coming off of, torn ACL or torn Achilles, I think.
One of the two.
At 32, 33 years old, and then comes out and dominates the way he did this year. Got hurt again this year and missed a good amount of time. That Nets team in the series against the Bucks didn't have Kyrie, and then Harden came back and played 2 games when he should not have played. I mean, there was no reason for him to be playing. Blake Griffin was the second best player on that team. Kevin Durant had a 50-point triple-double in that series, was just going absolutely ballistic, and I think Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA right now, meaning he's the best power forward.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that. I'm really excited to watch Nets basketball this year. And you think about it, and that half shoe size is that's one of those unreal moments.
That doesn't really get talked about or brought up. I feel like
it did.
It's not taking away nothing from the Bucks, but it's just like that shot literally that changes everything.
2 inches.
That the Nets would win, and that would just change. I mean, you might even have KD over Giannis in that situation.
No, I would.
And it's just such a small. He still made the shot.
Yep.
I don't know.
Just was on the line.
It's so unreal that Kevin Durant is as good as he is.
Unbelievable. One of the craziest players in NBA history.
Yeah, and if you hate KD for what he did and everything, sure, but at least appreciate how good he is at basketball.
Like watching him.
And it's just, you hear the dudes in the league talk about KD. I mean, they
talk about him like he's a god.
They talk about him like he is a god. All of them do.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying they don't talk about Giannis like that, because they do. But you just hear more dudes talk about KD very highly than pretty much any other player, even more than LeBron.
Yeah,
I feel
people.
like.
I mean, he is the Julio Jones, I'd say, of the NBA. Everybody praises Julio Jones as the greatest wide receiver they've ever seen. And that's the same thing we do with KD. It's like there's not a guy who does basketball better than him.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the same way.
Does that pretty much wrap it up?
I think that wraps up the episode.
Thank you for listening. Top 10 power forwards is done. We'll do our top 10 small forwards next. And we're going to have a week of NFL football next time you hear us. So,
Yes. Yeah. Peace.
Bye.